Today on The Occult Detective, I thought we'd talk a little bit about dreams. Alright, so before we go into the dream I had last night, I should probably explain a little bit about the way I tend to experience the dream realm. Rarely am I ever myself in a dream. Most often I am a detached observer, but I have a connection to one of the characters in the dream. I'm in their thoughts. It's almost like reading a novel. And I'm following a particular character through the dream. And I have some semblance of control. I am immersed into their story. I don't know how common that is. I've never done a lot of dream research, but that's the nature of it. So I guess that brings me to last night's little astral adventure. So as the dream began, I was in a house that was being constructed. The walls were framed, but I could see out into the side yard, which was mostly dirt and mud, piles of stone. There were houses in the distant, sparse woodlands, and the person that I am focusing on, that I'm observing, the person that I'm in the head of, looks like Dr. Phil. Okay. So he, I, however you want to recognize it, in this constructed home, there's a man who is interested in purchasing the house. This man, I believe, is my patient. I'm a psychiatrist. He's not overly pleased with the house. He's asking my opinion when another man enters the room, and that man is Kenneth Anger. Kenneth Anger, who I just learned passed away yesterday. So I guess that's why he intruded upon my dream state. But he suggested a home not far away that was for sale that he thought would be perfect for this gentleman. So I take out my cell phone, I look it up, it shows where the home is, and yeah, it's a little kind of a U-shaped course through the neighborhood around to where this home is. So I agree to go to it with my patient. So we take separate vehicles. As I'm driving, I'm using GPS to locate the house. But it's odd because on the road itself, there's a red guideline for me to follow. But as I'm driving through these neighborhoods, I notice the same type of red that I'm being guided by are like creeping veins in the grass spreading out all around. Finally, we come to the house. It's in a cul-de-sac. alone, no other houses around it. I don't see my patient, but as I enter the home, I realize this is actually the patient's house. He leads me into the living room, which is decorated with all of my things. Toys from my childhood, books of fantasy and the occult, little knickknacks, all things that I have had and still have, even furniture, but it's placed oddly. And I'm commenting on the fact that, I had many of these things. His wife is introduced to me, and his two children, a boy and a girl. The boy looks distraught. He has a strange bruise on his face. The shape of the bruise changes from small to large to eventually, at one point, it even looks like a mask. But the mother goes into the kitchen to prepare supper. The father goes into the basement, and I'm left with the two children. The boy, the older of the two, explains that his father has repeatedly tried to kill him, and that he has narrowly escaped each time. And he's afraid that the father is going to turn his attentions towards his sister. So I take the child at his word. I believe what he's telling me. So the father returns from the basement. We go into the kitchen where now the grandparents have arrived. The grandfather is John Waters. Okay, so we sit down to eat, and the boy comes into the room. The daughter's not around, but the boy is explaining that he's afraid, and I express my concerns to the grandparents and the wife, explaining that the father is troubled, that I believe he has a split personality, and that he should be lodged elsewhere until we could figure out a course to make him whole again. And that's when the little boy comes up behind me and stabs me in the back of the calf with a knife, and I collapse to the floor, and the boy is standing over the top of me with the bloody knife, and as I look up, the little girl has joined him, and she's looking down on me as well, and I can see the parents and grandparents in the background, and they are just elated. They're so happy that the children are like them. So that was my dream. Why I was Dr. Phil, I have no idea, other than I did watch a snippet of a video of Dr. Phil speaking with Bill Maher. But otherwise, Dr. Phil's not somebody who is on my radar generally. The other two celebrities in the dream, John Waters and Kenneth Anger, two avant-garde filmmakers. Of course, Anger was quite a bit on my thoughts all day yesterday. And I suppose I should comment on that a little bit. I came to Anger by way of Hollywood Babylon first. I read it, or read chunks of it as a child. Um, we had a copy of it in the house, and I kind of didn't make the connection. Then later, as I became very interested in Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin, Page had worked on Lucifer Rising, a Kenneth Anger film. So I kind of, slowly made that connection that they were the same person. And I was desperate to get the Page soundtrack to Lucifer Rising. And when I finally did hear it, I don't understand what Anger's problem with it was. I thought it fit the film perfectly. I don't know if you've seen bootleg cuts where they have added the Page soundtrack, but yeah, it's fantastic. But all that said, that's how I came into the world of Kenneth Anger, and I thought he had a unique take on Thelema, and he was a solitary, so he was different. He was a unique individual, and the world will be lesser for his passing. But I think in a lot of ways, this is for creative types, even when we don't remember it, our subconscious kind of builds stories, and then that seeps into our waking world. And well, last night's dream was a wild one. Unlike a lot of people, I enjoy, nightmares such as that. Really gets my brain cooking. So, so last night's, I guess, was a full course, and giving me a lot of food for thought. All right, that's all I have for you today. I guess we'll talk again soon. I apologize for being a little scarce around the interwebs, but I've had a lot of deadlines that I've been working towards completing. I really want to get everything that I've got on my plate wrapped up by the end of this month, so we'll see how that goes, right? All right. Thanks for stopping in.